Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm in the back of the house and we are going to do a May tour of what I call space number 3. So if you're brand new here, we have 3 main growing spaces on our homestead. So space number 1 is our high tunnel. It's 30 by 96. And then we have space number 2, which is our in-ground garden that we do for the summer, which is 4,000 square feet. And then space number 3 is actually where my gardening journey started, which is behind my house. I have 5 raised beds and I have 3 green stalks. And today it's towards the end of May, and I wanted to show you how things are progressing and tell you about next steps for this space as we move into the summer season. So if you're brand new here, again, I am in Tennessee, and y'all, it's getting hot. It is getting hot. Today it's about 80 degrees. The sun is shining, but I'm so grateful because it has been a lot of rain over the last 2 to 3 weeks, really. Just a lot of rain. And we'll have a day of sunshine mixed in. But I think all this week is supposed to be really, really nice and pleasant. So about these garden tours, because there's a bee, okay, because my spaces are relatively big and I have many of them, I'm probably going to break out my garden tours into 2. So I will do the high tunnel and the in-ground garden. And then for the space in the back of the house, I will probably do that maybe every other month. We'll see how it goes. But for this month, I'm definitely going to do this space and the tunnel and the in-ground garden. But so the video won't be eternal, we'll break it up into multiple videos. So today, let's talk about what's in the back of the house. And one of the main things I wanted to show you is the 5 raised beds we have. We got to do some weeding. And also, let's check the progress on how things are going. What else I'm doing is also relocating my green stalks. So I have 3 green stalks. And if you don't have a green stalk, you want to be part of the Green Stalk Sister Club, you should. And for those of you that grabbed your green stalk during the Mother's Day sale, congratulations. I hope that by now you are receiving those and you're enjoying them. And thank you guys so much for using my code. I really appreciate that helps me out a ton. But if you don't know about green stalk, I got several videos on what a green stalk is, but basically it's a vertical gardening system. I have 3 and I'm in the process of relocating one of my green stalks. So let me show you what I've been doing. So you can see here the green stalk is disassembled, and I've had to pause here because when I tell you this stuff is heavy with the dirt and the plants, much more so when it's just empty with no plants in it. But basically we are going to move it from that space here. You can see where it was on the patio, and we are going to be moving it here is where we're going to move it to. Okay, we're going to be moving it here. You can see I have 1 green stalk here, and we're going to be moving the other one there because what I've realized is that this one was actually planted before this one, and this one is growing 10 times faster than that one. And I think it's because this one is in direct sun versus over here that one was getting a lot of shade. So we're going to actually relocate that green stalk there and see how it does. You can see here, we can start our tour, I guess, right around in here. Look at this green stalk and how well it is doing. So you can see we already have some flowers popping up. You can see here our nasturtiums are popping up. I'll have to bring you close. We got a couple of peppers already, if you can see that there. That's one of our tomatoes. We got to put our plant support on, so we'll actually do that as well. Oh my goodness, I just saw this. Friends, look, we have some tomatoes right there. Can you see that? I just saw that. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring you guys closer in case you can't see it. And then look at our squash. Ari's putting on flowers, and then that's our little squash forming right there. Let me see if I can get you closer. Okay, y'all, that's a cayenne pepper right there already forming. I'm loving what I'm seeing. There is another one. And then look down here at our squash forming. Is that not beautiful? Oh, and then we got some tomatoes, which I didn't even realize. Look at that. So we got to put our plant supports on because this definitely needs it. Let's see. Everything is growing so beautifully. Look at the nasturtiums peeking through right there. I'm so excited. I didn't even realize I had tomatoes on there. I knew about the other stuff, but that's exciting. This is my first time growing vegetables like this in a green stalk. So I'm really happy to see that we have some progress for sure. Some peppers, some squash, and then the marigolds. This is what, not marigolds, nasturtiums. Y'all, this is what I didn't know about nasturtiums. You know how they say I was today years old when I found out? Y'all, I just realized last week there are 2 different kinds of nasturtiums. I did not realize that. So in case you like me and you didn't know, let me share. So the ones that are in this green stalk, I got from a subscriber, and I think these are called dwarf nasturtiums. I'm pretty sure that what's in there is. But there are also vining nasturtiums, which is what I've been growing. And they get wild and all over the place. I never knew that. I did not know that. If you knew that, why y'all didn't tell me? Why y'all didn't tell me? And if you didn't know, now you know. But anyway, back focus. On the green stalk, you can see I have the automatic watering system. We're actually going to be setting up 2 more so that all the green stalks have an automatic watering system. So we'll be doing that, as well as I bought a plant support to try. There's a plant support that you can hook onto the green stalk for like your peppers and tomatoes, things that get really big. This green stalk right here is the original, which is 5 tiers, and it's 10 inches deep. So this green stalk is doing really, really well. The other one is doing okay, but it's not growing nearly as fast, which is why I think it needs to be in the sun and less shade. Let me show you the other green stalk with the strawberries. Okay, so that's the green stalk with the strawberries. It's doing well. We're probably getting, if I had to guess, maybe 15, 20 strawberries a week. I don't know if that's good or bad. We have 2 different kinds in there, an ever-bearing and then a June-bearing. This is the only green stalk I have that does not have the ultimate spinner kit base. Trust and believe I will be changing this out. I will definitely be changing this. Oh, okay, I was stepping on something. I will definitely be changing this base out when these strawberries are done and when it's time to kind of take it apart and all that stuff. I just don't have the time, the energy. This one right here that I'm disassembling, I'm like, that's enough for me. But I will definitely do this when the strawberry season is over and all of that, because what I've noticed is I don't like the fact that I can't turn it. And I noticed that I get more strawberries on the front side, which is where the sun is, versus on the back side. That most of the strawberries I'm picking are on the front side. And I feel like if I could turn it, then that would be a way to kind of even out the harvest. Again, I don't know if what I'm getting is, because it's not even June yet, but I'm still getting strawberries. I wonder if it's going to pick up or not. You guys tell me. Should I be getting more strawberries in this? I don't know. And maybe it's too early to tell. But that green stalk is doing fine. I have the other one disassembled. But now let's go take a look at the raised beds behind me and what's going on there. So before I show you the raised beds, let me remind you what I have back here in case you're new. So I have 5 raised beds. 3 of them are garlic and 2 are onion. So the garlic was planted in early October, so it is almost at the point where it's ready for harvest, and I will be harvesting this probably when I get back in town towards the first part of June. It should be good to go and ready. 1, I don't have time to harvest it before I leave, and 2, it's not quite ready. So I have 3 beds of garlic, and then 2 things of onions. So let's take a look at the first bed. This is our first bed, and this is a new variety that I've never done before, and this is elephant garlic. The cloves and the bulbs are really, really big, and it's actually not even technically part of the garlic family. It's really an onion, but it's called elephant garlic, and it's sold with the garlic and all that. But I wanted to show you the scape, which is that right there. This is what you call a garlic scape. Let's take this off and let's talk about it. I realized that, let's see if I can get somewhere where less sun, where you can actually see me. Okay, so I realized that I don't think I've ever talked about garlic scapes on my channel. I've gotten them, done things with them, but I've just never recorded it. So this is what a garlic scape looks like on the elephant garlic. So you can see where I broke it off on the stem. So if you are doing a hard neck garlic, it is going to produce what they call scapes, which is this. If you planted your garlic around October or November, start looking at your garlic and see if you have this in the center of your garlic coming out. Now, this is still a good one. It's still flimsy. It's not hard. It's not tough. It's not woody. If you let the garlic scapes go too long, they will get extremely tall and big and woody, and they don't taste as great with great flavor. You can use the whole entire bulb. I usually just use this part to this part, but you can chop it up, dice it. You can make pesto with it. What I do is I chop them up, I dice them, and I put them in my freezer, and then I'll add it to cooking, soups, vegetables, whatever the case may be, to give it a garlic flavor. I've never done the elephant garlic, so I don't know what the flavor is like, but if it's onion, garlic, anywhere in that family, I'm gonna love it. The thing with the scapes are this. You do want to pick your scapes even if you choose to not do anything with it. I don't know why you wouldn't do anything with it, but even if you choose not to do anything with it, because what happens is when I pick this and harvest the scape, it sends the energy back down to the bulb and signals to the bulb, grow bigger. What this is trying to do is produce like a flower, like almost like go to seed. When you leave this on here, it doesn't encourage the bulb to get bigger and grow. In my experience, once you start seeing scapes, usually 2 to 3 weeks later, you are ready to harvest. So I always wait for my scapes and then I harvest like a couple of weeks later. So this is perfect. I've already gotten some scapes last week. So this is like the second week they've been scaping. I just made up a word. Second week I have had scapes. So by the time I get back, they will be ready to harvest. So let's go see if we got any more scapes, and let's go ahead and harvest those. Okay, I got 4 more scapes. Now look at this one. That one is real long, and obviously you're not here to feel it, but I don't know if you can tell, it's not as loose as like this one is. This is more tough, right? So this is an example of when it grows too long, it gets a little bit more tough, and the flavor is not. You want to get them when they're young and soft and all that. But will I still use it? I will. So I got 4, but I got, I don't know, probably 10 or so last week. So pretty much I would say the most of this bed has scaped. You can also see when I showed you the picture or the video how the leaves are turning brown, and that's also another sign about harvesting. So these will be ready to harvest, like I said, when I get back. Let's go look at the other beds of garlic. Okay, again, this is looking really, really good. I'll try to bring you up close. I already see some scapes as well. I see one here. This is real woody and tough. You see how long it is. That is our last and final bed of garlic. You can see it's doing well. You see some brown at the tips. This had scaped last week as well, and I got scapes from it. I'll go through and weed eat both of these beds that we just saw and get the rest of the remainder of the scapes. These are the scapes from that second bed. You can see there's some that's real long that I didn't get in time. Like I said, it's much more firm, tough, versus the rest of these are pretty soft. Let me know what you do with your scapes. Like I said, I've heard of people making pesto. I've never done it, and then just also dicing them up and put them in soups and stuff. So let me know if there's another way that you prepare your garlic scapes or what you do with them. But y'all, this is like considered a delicacy. It really is, because only the hard-neck garlics produce a scape. The soft-neck garlics do not. But it's like a delicacy. Like people will have these at the farmer's market or in other places and try to sell these for a premium. So if you did hard-neck garlic and this is your first time, you're like, what's that thing come out in the center? It's a garlic scape, honey. Go and harvest it and come in the house, cut it up, add some flavor to your dishes. And it's going to encourage the bulb to go bigger, because it's going to send that energy back down to the bulb. Y'all, as soon as I turned the camera off, we had a little episode. Let me turn the camera and show you let me turn the camera around and show you what happened. Do y'all see this? This is the edge of my raised bed. You can see the piece that's on the ground. I went to go weed this bed, and as soon as I touched that top piece, it literally just fell off. Fell completely off. Now, I'm surprised but not surprised. Like, this is, you guys, if you've been here, you notice that, you know that for the past few months or so, we've been trying to replace these beds, the wood on the beds. These beds, like I said, is where my gardening journey started. So these beds were built in April 2020. So they are 4 years old. And so wood, just note to self, if you're building wood raised beds, I don't know what's wrong with my mouth today. The wood is going to have a shelf life. Like, it's not going to last forever. These are not cedar, but it's the step down from cedar. And so we were told they would last 4 to 5 years. They probably lasted about 3, right? And so now this is the 4th year. The wood is rotted out and all that. Now, the wood beds that I have in my tunnel are just fine. And I guess that's because they don't get rained on and they're not directly in the elements. It's the only thing that I can come up with. But those look fine, and they were done maybe a year later, but they don't show any signs of breaking down. We've already replaced 3 of the beds. We have 2 left and just haven't gotten to it. I'm just going to see if I can get my husband to try to get this wood board back on until we can replace the wood. It's rotted out. It needs to go and all that. At this point, I'm just trying to save my onions. That's all I'm trying to do. So the plan is to replace all these beds at some point with metal beds, because the metal has a 20 to 25 year lasting shelf life, if you want to call it that, versus the wood. You're just going to have to keep replacing it over and over and over. I wish I would have started with metal, but again, new gardener, don't know anything, didn't even know metal beds existed. We started with these wooden beds and built them, but long term, they're not going to be the best way to go. The thing about transitioning or switching over to metal beds is that we got to do it at a point when there's no food in the ground, obviously. And so it has to be like doing a transition period, you know, from spring to summer, or after the summer crop is over, doing it at that point. Because I've stopped growing food out here in the winter time. Last year I just did my flowers and my garlic. Anyway, my point is, you got to find that sweet spot when there's no food in the ground and making the transition to switch it over. Also, our tractor has been down for a while, and right now it's not in the cards or the money to get a new tractor. We have taken the tractor that we currently have to 2 different people. They cannot figure out what's wrong with it. And the thing is, it doesn't have that many hours. Like, it's not an old tractor, but nobody can figure out what's wrong with it. And we've already paid money for them to figure it out, and they still don't know what's wrong with it. Point being, it's going to be hard to transition and change these beds over without a tractor moving the dirt from one bed to the next. Now, obviously, we can rent a tractor and all that. But anyway, that's not today's problem or today's feat. I was just explaining about eventually we do want to switch this over to metal raised beds. That's just not today. So let me turn the camera around and let me show you the onion beds and how they're bulbing up. I pretty much got most of the beds pretty much all weed eated except this one that kind of fell apart. I got the part that I could. But let me show you how the onion beds are doing, and we'll be able to wrap this up. You can see the onions for the most part are bulbing up pretty good. I think I planted some of them too close because they're not as big. There's one that's a pretty nice size. They probably have another, I would say 3 weeks or so before they're ready. This is the other bed. You can kind of see how they're bulbing up, sitting on top of the ground, but they're certainly not ready yet. So I have 2 beds of onions. These are candy onions from Dixondale Farms. So I pulled one onion just because it was on the edge when the bed fell apart. So again, I'll take this in the house and use this, but you can see it's not finished bulbing. I planted these, I want to say I got to go back and look. I think it was the last week of February. And onions, this variety has like a 90 to 100 day maturity period. So I got to go back and look at my notes. I think they're supposed to be ready like the first week of June, which is in about, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks. So they still got time to bulb up more, and they're on their way. They're not ready yet. One of the reasons, or one of the ways you know that onions are ready, they'll start to brown and they'll start to fall over. And they're not falling over yet. They're, pretty much still standing up. So they got a ways to go. But basically in 2 to 3 weeks, this whole area in the back will pretty much be done in terms of harvesting. We will have harvested the garlic and the onions, I would say, by the 2nd week of June. And it'll be time to fill these beds for the rest of the summer. The original plan was to fill this back here with our paste tomatoes. We have some paste tomatoes in the other spaces, but to do a huge emphasis on paste tomatoes, I was supposed to start those so they would be ready to go by the 1st or 2nd week of June. I have not been able to do that because May got somewhere to be. I mean, May is Maying, okay? The travel and all of the responsibilities, I haven't been home enough to start seeds and to get them going. And there's times when, if we're not here, there's nobody to water the seeds. I don't have the seeds on automatic water. So I haven't been able to start seeds, which means I'm probably going to have to buy transplants. What I don't know is, will I be able to find transplants the 1st week of June for Roma tomatoes? I don't know, because I normally don't buy transplants that late. But hopefully there's going to be a nursery somewhere that's going to still have some tomato plants. If not, then we're going to have to go to plan B. But the other stuff that's going to be back here are sweet potatoes, another succession of cucumbers, and green beans. So it's supposed to be, out of these 5 beds, cucumbers, sweet potatoes, green beans, and then 2 beds of tomatoes, 1 paste, 1 cherry. That is the plan. We will see what happens. We will see what happens. So y'all, this is a tour of the back of the house. You saw the 5 raised beds and how things are moving along. You also saw the green stalks. My husband was able to move that green stalk. You can see it behind me. It's all put together. So we're going to see how it progresses and if it moves more rapidly now that it's back here with the full sun. We'll see what happens. So I'll do probably another tour or so at the end of June, because we should have way more stuff happening back here, as well as these beds will be planted with something, even if it's not tomatoes. Okay, so thank you guys for joining me for this tour on the back of the house. Stay tuned. I will do a tour of the high tunnel and the in-ground garden for May as well. But remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.